Introducing LT Defense Tactical Gear, your ultimate solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield.
The fact that
cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hello, friends. I'm Kent Skelton, and I'm so glad you are here. Together we can battle this struggle and find freedom from it all. Life is continuous, and it would be ridiculous to say that you or I don't experience those seconds, minutes, hours, or days that seem like they'll never end. Time continues on, regardless of how we feel or what we experience. We search, longingly for a way to handle and navigate through these situations we are experiencing. There has to be a way. Surely I can find the solution to get rid of these negative experiences and periods of despair I am feeling. Maybe it's not our own problems, but those of family members or loved ones that are living in pain. These pains may come from alcoholism, addictions, illness, grief, boredom, and in so many other forms. What will we do? Where is that light I'm supposed to be able to see at the end of the tunnel? When will I see it? When will this end? The timing to realize you need help is up to each of us. That's you, that's me. We are each individually accountable for ourselves. We have to make the change, and the timing is now. There's no time like the present to desire and begin that road to recovery. Together, let's reach that freedom from struggle.
Hello. How is everybody today? Welcome to the Freedom from Struggle show at Red's Round Table. I'm Ken. I'm a faithful believer in Jesus Christ and celebrate recovery from alcoholism, anxiety, depression, anger issues, sarcasm, whether you can believe that or not, and just so many other things. Basically, I'm celebrating recovery from some sin, and I'm working on some sin, okay? And look, we're here today, and we got a great guest. Like I said, wait, real quick. I'm a Celebrate Recovery leader at First Baptist Church, Biloxi, right here in Biloxi, Mississippi. If you're down here in this area, check us out. If you're anywhere else, you can always look up Celebrate Recovery on your phone or Android, iPhone or Android. Download the CR app. You can find out where there's a Celebrate Recovery location near you. And today, Now, this is a great thing. We got a guest on here that I met at another Celebrate Recovery. We found out we got a few more attachments than just that. But I want to welcome a guest today, Brother Stu. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Very, very blessed and happy to be here with you.
Thank you, Stu. Man, I met Stu up at what's that? Is it North Side?
North Park Church
Park.
up in Meridian, Mississippi.
Yeah, North Park Church on Highway 39 in Meridian, Mississippi. And that's my hometown, folks. And turns out me and Stu, I met Stu there. And he's a military veteran himself, as I am. You know, I did 20 years with the Air Force, another 8 years with the civil service teaching air traffic control. After my career was over, active duty career was over. And just residing right here in Biloxi, Mississippi. But my family still lives up in Meridian. So I go up to Meridian, I get that CR app that I was talking about on the phone. I said, where can I go to one of these Celebrate Recovery meetings? And doggone it, I find one right there. Probably about 5-6 minutes from the house. And so we slip on over there. And there I met Stu. I met a lady that I knew from my childhood that kind of babysat me in a sense. She had a relationship with a cousin of mine, but you know, and I met her, and then I met another girl, a veteran friend of mine, is air traffic control down here on the coast, and he's recently died. And anyway, his wife, his widow, is also at that Celebrate Recovery, which I'm family friends with her parents. And I really got to meet her first off. And I don't know, just a joyous thing bringing people together, Stu. What do you think about that?
I love it now. I used to have quite a bit of anxiety and fear going into new groups of people, and being in a recovery program, especially one that is based on the Word of God and you know, the Beatitudes Jesus Christ put out on the Mount, that living the way, the example he set for us is changed my life all for the better, even though stuff pops up. I've got his tools now to deal with them. And it's a everyday thing. You know, none of us are sin free. We all have old sin nature. And I thank God all the time for 1 John 1:9, being able to go to him and confess my sins to him, admit them to God the Father, and he instantly forgives them because Christ, his son, already paid for them. And he never thinks about them again until I mess them up and do that sin again. Then I got to get back with him, admit them, and march on to the beat of his drums instead of my own. I've been in recovery for a little over 7 years, and on November 23rd, 2017 was the day that I call I hit my bottom and quit all the foolishness of my past.
Right on. Okay.
I was raised, you know, good parents. They taught us all the right and wrongs, and you're going to get your tail tore up if you're doing wrong. Respect authority, and here, you know, as a family, we would go to church on Sunday and all that kind of stuff. So I know I've been saved my whole life, but I didn't live like I was a Christian.
Well, Stu, you're living a little bit. You're living in sin, heavily in sin.
Wide open.
Wide open. Me too, man. I was that 5-card poker on Saturday night, church on Sunday morning. You know, they ought to make a song with something like that in it. But no,
probably have.
That's probably where I got that. We have to give them credit for that. Okay, all right. I thought I came up with it first, but yeah, same with me. And you know, just from alcohol alone, Stu, I'm celebrating 30 years of recovery, and it was also in the month of November when I hit my bottom back in 1994, and I found that at that time, the way I was living, alcohol. It was not mixing at all with my family, my wife, my kids, thankfully they were young, so they don't recall that that part of their lives. Maybe my older son might remember a little bit, but it did not mix with the Air Force. It certainly didn't mix with air traffic control, being an air traffic controller. But so now you're talking about affecting my family, my life, my kids, my career in the greatest military, greatest military in the world, the U.S. military, and like I said, the air traffic control, and just my relationship with God, and that's where I was saved by His grace at that time. That without a doubt. I mean, without a doubt. And I am thankful to be here. Stu, I want to ask you, what branch of service were you in?
I joined the United States Marine Corps in 1982, and I liked it a little bit too much. And I told myself I could make E8 Master Sergeant by the time I got to my 19th year, that I would stay for the long haul. And so at 30 years of active service, I retired. Was a Master Gunnery Sergeant E9 for about 6 years or so, 7 years, something like that.
So, Stu, what you're telling me is you basically went all the way.
Yes, sir. I didn't make a career out of it. I made a life out of it.
Roger that. Hey, Stu, on behalf of myself, I'm sure the general population and all of our other veterans here on Military Broadcast Radio, we certainly appreciate your service.
Well, back at y'all.
You got a lot of battle buddies on here.
It's good to have them too.
Man, what you talking about? And I want to just throw in here real quick. That's a big reason for our channel. Our station here is Military Broadcast Radio, where it gives veterans a voice. Okay. And that's what it's for. But not only that, it brings us together, just like we have that camaraderie while we're in the service within your unit, your squadron, your branch of service. Joint efforts nowadays, but we have a camaraderie that we can continue right here as veterans or veterans' families. Folks and first responders are all welcome here on Military Broadcast Radio. We've really got a great thing going, and I'm gonna run something down here on the bottom, and it's just a way that you can. Supposed to be, if I could pull it up, and I can't find it right now. But anyway, if you'd like to help sponsor Military Broadcast Radio in any way, folks out there in the listening audience, look, you can always email me at red@mbradio.us or manager@mbradio.us. That way you'll get the main staff, and we appreciate anything, whether it's $1, whether it's, want to do a full sponsorship for a business or whatever. It is greatly appreciated. You put equipment in front of certain veterans that cannot afford to put it there, that really want to have their voice heard and have their own show. And we got like over 30 shows, Stu, right here on Military Broadcast Radio. We have a lot of music that's played at night. But it's an amazing thing. I'm glad you're here with us again today, man. It is, I say again today, it's your first time here. But again, I want to thank you. And I'm grateful that you're here. And I got a brother in arms, a brother in Christ. And, man, I tell you what, it don't get much better than that for me, unless we were sitting side by side drinking a cup of coffee.
That's right.
Or if we were camouflaged out there in the woods. We got our new camouflage now, right? It's not military, but boy, we not only are we retirees of the military, members of the greatest army in the world, in the galaxy, God's army. But
Amen.
we're also brothers out there in the field hunting. Got our camo on today. I do have my red MBR radio shirt, but I just decided, since I was hanging with my brother Stu, I was going camo today. So here we are, camoed out. And we're happy to be here. Stu, we've already a quarter of a way through our show. We got to have a word from our sponsor and from one of our great artists that provides us here at the Military Broadcast Radio. Folks, we'll be right back. Stay tuned as we go into more about why we're here when we come back.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop. And his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Proud but torn, but if you knew him you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. He's Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandals' 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts. Or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back, Stu.
Hey, buddy, glad to be here.
Hey, how about that Mr. Red, White, and Blue, my brother?
Woo. Man, it jerks an apple in my throat every time I hear it.
Woo, what you talking about, man? I love it. I remember the first time I heard that song. It's just like the hair standing up on my arms, and they still do it today.
I had to pull off side of the road. I was driving the first time I heard it.
Oh, no kidding.
And my dang eyes got to raining. So
wow.
And sometimes I have still have a little survivor's guilt type stuff, but I know I go to the Lord with it and He takes care of it.
Right. Well, yeah, that's been a big thing and a big topic on a lot of our shows, a lot of the programs here on Military Broadcast Radio, where we are giving veterans a voice. I'm thankful for them. But and people talk about these different issues, that might affect them, and man, they're so huge. Stu, we're both involved. We had mentioned that Celebrate Recovery, and one other thing, real quick, before I got into that, I know we got a lot of loved ones and fellow veterans, such as my father. He's got some health issues going on right now, man. Looking for prayers for him. I'm praying hard for him. He got some things coming up and just going through some stuff right now. It's pretty tough, but he's one of our old Navy veterans. And Stu, I know that you got a member of your family. My dad, when I visited him a couple of days ago, said he had gone by and seen one of his dear friends. And I hope he's doing okay. I know he's struggling, him and his wife both. And
they are. We happen to be blessed with the opportunity to serve them by taking care of them here in our home, and it's definitely a challenge because of all the different things that are involved with it. But they're doing pretty good, and
good.
I was tickled to death a couple of weeks ago when we were talking at Celebrate Recovery there at North Park Meridian.
Right.
And you said, "Hey, we're almost cousins," because my dad and your father-in-law have been best friends forever.
They go back. They gone back in the day,
right.
Yeah, I don't know if he was a veteran or not. I know he's got family members that were. I know he's got a son-in-law that did a heck of a job in serving.
His son is a Marine veteran.
Okay.
And he had a few other people in line that were veterans to the Army and the Marine Corps. So.
Well, I wouldn't doubt with his dad's age, he probably was, him or his brothers were probably veterans. Back in those days, they obviously recruited folks,
Right.
A little bit of everybody served in one way or another. And but anyway, we want to remember all our parents and all our loved ones, people, battle buddies, and everything else. Remember them in our prayers. And listen, as we go into talking about this stuff today, you never know what some veteran or some person that you come across, what they're facing right now. Despite the smile on their face, that twinkle in their eye, they might still be have something back there behind, that they're fighting. Most all of us. My mom always says, Stu, she said that, if you ain't got problems, you ain't living, and that's about the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
I belong to another Celebrate Recovery up in Neshoba County, Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Right.
And the leader up there, I've known for a long time. And he talks about the masks that he would wear all the time.
Right.
And we still can. I know I can anyway, on occasion, just like you were describing, I may, right here in my facial area, I may look like everything's going good, but inside, there's a fight going on.
Well, and Stu, there's so many times where people have to do that. And I know, especially us guys and ladies, I say guys, I say men, women in the military, a lot of times, because of our pride and the other career, it's not just in the military. Don't get me all across mankind, I guess. But because of pride, because of your position, because of the chance of losing your position or losing, possibly afraid of losing respect, or and you do have to hide that a lot, and you just have to bear it, and it really, I guess it's great that we can do that and persevere and carry on. The only thing that it eats at us, and it's like it's like, I guess, like a bad infection, and it can work on us so hard, and it just damages us. And and I guarantee you, it's damaging some of those other people around you if you're not seeking help or you're not getting the care you need for it, right?
Exactly.
It rubs off on other, whether it be family members or co-workers, peers or superiors, and it's just we do it out of what we feel like necessity or what we have to do, but it has to do with pride. I know a big part of it's pride, and we don't have to go through that. We don't have to face through these things alone. And you mentioned Celebrate Recovery, and which I got another friend I think is part of that Celebrate Recovery group you might be speaking of, my brother Jeff from school, my school days. I'm wanting to get him on the show with us real soon. It'd be nice to have a little reunion, me, you, him, and a couple others I've got in mind we could have on there, and probably have a real round table like we were having a real meeting. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But hey, talking about these things that we've gone through, we don't have to go through these things alone. Okay. And that's kind of where it goes. What I'm feeling with this show, what I've been feeling, I've been blessed with through Celebrate Recovery. And folks, Celebrate Recovery, it's another 12-step program. Okay. But it is a wide out in the open, faith-based 12-step recovery program. And man, you want your life transformed. I tell you what, take some steps into this, and your life will be transformed, and it will be transformed for the better, and it will be transformed for an eternity. And so that's a pretty good program if you look at it like that. Stu, I started with AA. I went through those 12 steps, and which I'd never really heard of it before, and I don't think I'm sure I got through it through my recovery a lot better by having those steps and realizing, looking at my higher power, God. And but I didn't stay with it that long, because I did have God had me quit this mess, and I knew exactly why I was stopping, right off the bat. And that's because I was already a Christian. And I guess I turned from my wicked ways, in a sense, there when I stopped my drinking, and came back to the Lord more so. Instead of trying to preach there at a bar, I started doing it sober, and because I was drunk, but I ain't forgot the Lord now. You know what I mean? Which what a terrible witness I was, and I'm ashamed of it, because I'm sure it caused people to go the opposite direction of the direction I thought they needed to go, and the Lord definitely the direction the Lord was planning on going. And but anyway, let's look at these 12 steps real quick. I mentioned these 12 steps. I want to look at them real quick, and Stu, if you got, I'm not sure if you got access to it, but if you do, and I would love to read the step, and you read the biblical comparison to it. Have you got that available?
I do. I've got it right in my hand here.
Okay, folks, with the 12 steps with their biblical comparisons. First, we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors, that our lives had become unmanageable.
And the biblical comparison is, I know that nothing good lives in me. That is in my sinful nature, for I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. And that verse is Romans 7:18.
Romans 7:18. Step 2, it says we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity.
And the Bible verse is, for it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purposes. Philippians 2:13.
And third step out of 12, this is only the third step out of 12, we made a decision to turn our lives and our wills over to the care of God.
And the verse for step 3 is, therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Romans 12:1.
Wow, that those 3 steps. I mean, you've got a bunch of other steps in there that you continue. You come with these 3 steps once and for all, and then you start going through these other steps that it has, where we're making inventories of ourselves, admitting to God, to another human being, and to ourselves, coming to realize that truth. The exact nature of our wrongs. We ask the Lord to rid us of all that stuff. We start asking forgiveness from others, forgiving others, and going all the way through the recovery process. But always remembering those first 3 steps, but always coming back to the 4th step. And if you got that, have you still got that in front of you, Stu?
I
Where
do.
we made a searching, the 4th step, we made a searching and fearless, honest inventory of ourselves.
And the Bible verse is Lamentations 3:40. Let us examine our ways and test them, and let us return to the Lord.
Yeah, and that's where we always come back to that, because that's something daily doing the making sure we're in the right spot, right where we're supposed to be, and constantly evaluating what might have gone wrong that the day, that the previous day, or that day that you've just had behind you. And so we don't forget. I mean, you got to make sure we talk about that in Christianity, especially talk about that narrow path and following the Lord. And man, that's how we can stay on that narrow path, is constantly evaluating our life and what we got going on, what we're doing, and if we're making the right decisions.
Always have to be in fellowship, or anything good I do is wood, hay, and stubble, and is no count toward the blessings that God's got for us in heaven.
Right. Look, I just put down on the bottom, if anybody's got any comments, we'd appreciate them. We'd love to entertain them. And we appreciate everybody that's watching the show, whether you're watching it live or watching the reruns. And always we'll try to get back to comments regardless of when you're seeing anything. And we thank you for being here. Stu, that's man, that's big stuff. Those first 3 steps.
Yep, I remember. I remember one of my sponsors telling me a simple way to look at those first 3 is, I can't, obviously, because my life's out of control. So I can't. God can. I believe I'm gonna let Him. Instead of me trying to control everything, I gotta surrender to His will.
Right. Boy, I tell you what, I want to make sure people know, that there's hope, and there's hope, there's light, a light at the end of the tunnel out there. With those 3 steps right there, man, that's where it's at. We gotta get out of ourselves. Just look, we're tough, we bad, but we can't do it all by ourselves. Not for eternity. For eternity.
I couldn't even here on this planet for any more than 55 years, and I fell apart.
Well, I know I would. Hey, I left Meridian, Mississippi, but that wouldn't have made no difference. If I'd have stayed in Meridian, Mississippi, I wouldn't have lasted a whole lot longer. As we live how we live, we start doing, and it's just so easy to get away.
Right.
And,
this was lived I'd say around about almost half the world. And it's had a little trends of all kind of international sin and hard times and whatever. But if I just will surrender, and I know especially for military people, that S word is something we despise, because I jam it in our head from boot camp. You never surrender.
Yeah, we talked about surrendering, huh? We got to win it. We're in it to win it. I lost you there. You paused on me, Stu. I don't know if you can still hear me. If you can get back to us here in just a second, you might have to. If you can hear me, you may have to go out and refresh, come back in. I hate I missed you. I've still got your picture down below all stage, but shoot me a message or whatever if you can. Let me know what we got going on, folks. Well, that's a great guy, Stu. He's an E9. He was E9 in the military, in the Marines, United States Marine Corps. And I'm thankful that I've gotten to meet him. I hope you get to hear a little bit more from him. Look, we're going to go and have another song real quick, and we will be back momentarily. And we'll continue talking about the 12 faith-based steps towards recovery.
"60 years went rolling by. It was here we said goodbye. The war was brewing, it was extreme. We were only teens. I knew the day I died, all alone, my brand new bride. Our favorite song would be a sign I'd be back in time. So raise a flag with pride and grace. I seen the pain on a soldier's face. Bring me home, both sides say I'm a soldier of the USA. You weren't alone all these years. I seen you cry, I know your tears. You raised our child and a family, all without me. You've done well with your life, lots of friends by your side. I heard a nightly secret prayer, I was always there. So raise a flag with pride and grace. I seen the pain on a soldier's face. Bring me home, both sides say I'm a soldier of the USA. Now it's time, my lovely wife, to bring you home. Say goodnight. Close your eyes to our favorite song. Can you see me now? Can you see me now? One day we'll come back in time for those we leave behind. But for now, we'll watch them grow. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandals' 16 all-inclusive, luxury included, adults-only resorts, or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right. Hey, look, I'm Red Skelton here, your host, the Freedom from Struggle Show on Military Broadcast Radio. We're giving veterans a voice. Our guest today, Stu, an E9 from the Marine Corps and a fellow Celebrate Recovery leader from up in halfway upstate Mississippi on the east side in Meridian. Had a little technical difficulty. I'm trusting he'll probably get back with us here shortly. We have just gone over the 12 steps of Celebrate Recovery. A lot of times when we go in these Celebrate Recovery meetings, we sing a few songs, okay? And I urge you to look at it. If you've just got the slightest problem, it doesn't matter. Look, Celebrate Recovery is for anybody with any type of hurt, habit, or hang up. And that's any type of hurt, habit of any kind. That could be addiction. That could be a problem with alcoholism. It could be a problem with being sarcastic, like I mentioned. Sometimes I am myself. It could be, it could be illness. It could be grieving. What are some things that people struggle with? Well, people struggle with self-confidence. They might, a Christian might struggle with their prayer life or Bible reading, Bible study that they really want to do a better job with. There's so many ways that you want to do better, or that you almost at that time in your life where you must do better. Maybe you've had some type of way. I've got to do this. I got to grab hold of my finances. I've got to get better. My weight, my calorie intake, whether maybe it's got to do with going out and actually exercising. We recently talked about the New Year's resolutions. Maybe it's, hey, look, I want to do these resolutions, but man, I've tried during the month of January. I tried for a week. I gave up. I tried for 2 weeks. I tried for 3 weeks. I fell a little short, and I tried a little harder. Now it's February. How can I go on? Well, listen, even with something that I say as simple as that, but even as something as a New Year's resolution, or just wanting to do things better in your life, wanting to be a nicer mother or a nicer father or a nicer brother, a nicer sister, just a nicer friend and neighbor in itself. Look, maybe we can't do it on our own. Maybe we need to look, just like in step 1, to come out of that denial and admit we're powerless over our addictions, our compulsive behaviors, our hurts, our habits, our hang-ups of whatever we're trying to accomplish, that our lives have become unmanageable. And that right there goes back to that Bible verse. I know that nothing good lives in me, that is in my sinful nature. If I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. Not alone. It's just, it's like, and it doesn't matter how bad we want to. We're just not capable of staying on task or having control of everything. I remember back when I was younger, I was like, I want to be in control. I want to be in control. I don't want to always be the low guy on the totem pole, always taking orders from other people. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. If I want to have something to drink, I want to have something to drink, man, That's the last thing I need is control, my own control over my own life. Okay. Look, it's almost impossible. But when I finally came out of that denial, when I finally came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, that's biblical also. It's in the second step, Philippians 2:13 in the Bible. For it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. And listen, we got that there for us, folks. So we can come out of that. We admit we're powerless. We come to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to that sanity. And thirdly, we make that decision to turn our lives and our wills over to the care of God. And this is just such a big one to me. This third step, and it's one of my most favorite Bible verse. I'm going to check the studio and make sure Stu's not back in there yet. But one of my most favorite Bible verses, and John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. I believe that might be one of the tops. Okay. This right here, though, for myself. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. When I decided to do that, I'll just be honest with you, life got a lot better for me. I'm not going to say it's perfect, okay? Because I tell you what, the devil loves to jump at you and try to get in the way of this and try to get in the way of this. I think I in my mind, Stu dropped off there. Man, that's just spiritual warfare, man. That's just the devil was just trying to get the best of us, but he ain't gonna do it. I know Stu, and I know that Stu is either trying to get back on there, or for some reason it is something has come up, and he just had to slide out. He is taking care of two in-law parents that are ill, and man, our prayers are out for them. They're family, friends of my family, particularly my parents and my grandparents. And that's how I came about knowing them. But man, when I came to that point, and I guess, maturity, spiritual maturity, where, yes, I became a Christian when I was younger, but when I finally came to that time where I decided to turn my life and my will over to the care of God. Okay, that's great. Okay, and that's strong. But man, when I really look at the biblical part of it, where I offered my body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to him, that's where the difference starts coming up. And that is, that's where I've been able to come into a position where do other things that are biblically, whether, loving the Lord God with all my heart and all my soul and all my mind, and then loving my neighbor as myself. Fortunately, I got some great neighbors. I can look out my window here, from this little studio I got. I do have the window open today, or the blinds open. I can see out. I got good neighbors I can be nice around. It's easy. But it's not just talking about your next door neighbor. When it talks about your neighbor, it's talking about other humans, whether you come into contact with them at the Walmart, the corner store, the gas station, the church, school, place of business. It's that's those people that you come into contact with. That's your neighbors, and we got to love those neighbors as ourselves. And we got so many things that are going bad, around us. It always is. It always has been. I realize that. I know that certain times in our life when we're younger, it seems like everything's just, so many things are just perfect for so many of us young ones. I know a lot of folks as children, they experience a lot of things. I can't imagine having to have some of that type of stuff myself. Fortunately, we were blessed, and we didn't have to necessarily to witness those kind of things to a later time in my life, whether it be loss of loved ones. It's hard. It is really hard. I do not know how people do it on their own. I just can't fathom it. I can't do it. Just like me and Stu were talking about a few minutes ago, it makes it a lot easier when you know that the Lord's got your back. You give it to the Lord and trust in the Lord, and it can make all things right. The other thing I was going to go into when we're talking about those steps, we're offering your body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to Him, and that's also with the Great Commission. Is going out and baptizing, making disciples. In the name of Christ, and that's that's the four corners of the world. That's everywhere. But man, I tell you what, we don't have to go places. Most of us don't have to go too far. There's other people that are willing to go afar. Okay. But, buddy, we got places just beyond my neighborhood right here. I just happen to know my neighborhood they're all pretty darn good folks, but if I slip right outside of my little cul-de-sac, there's a big world out there and a big group of people that I can come into contact with. It's the same way right here, hopefully. Okay. And I say, hopefully. Why, Red, why are you doing this podcast? Well, look, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't hurt me by doing it. And I'm having a better day after I came in here and started doing this myself, and but if one person hears this podcast or hears one little segment of this podcast and it helps them, it brightens their day, helps them to see a little hope there, a little light at that end of the tunnel, man, it was more than worth doing it. Okay. And that's what I figure. And the cool thing about this is we are at the moment I'm live. It's 3:51 this afternoon on a Saturday, Central Time. And we are live, but man, somebody can hear this. There could be somebody listening to this next week, next month, next year. I don't know. Fortunate enough, this YouTube and things, different social media things stay out here. My goodness, people might be hearing this 10 years from now, might be hearing this 5 years from now, and it might might be, the Lord does work in mysterious ways, and sometimes I'll recall. I'll share something here in just a moment, but you never know at that moment what somebody's needing to hear, or what Stu might have been saying a little earlier, or it may be another military broadcast radio host on a different program. It might be a different radio station. It might be a different television station. But things happen at that right time, that right moment. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? When you're sitting there, when you're low on cash or you're wanting something and you just don't quite have enough to get it, or you wanting to talk to that old friend again, and then all of a sudden, it just happens. There they are. Or you hadn't thought of somebody in a long time, and you might be hurting, might be sad, stuff like. All of a sudden, you think about this old friend you had. Wow, I should give them a call, give them a buzz. Hey, they might like to hear from you, right? Good things can happen. And I say that because I can remember several times, and it's not something I just have shared. I know I've talked about it with a few people before, but I can remember a few times back in the day. Okay. So it had to be the 80s or the early 90s, something like that. But things just weren't going in my life. Maybe I drank a little too much or something like that, got in a big argument with my wife, and who knows, maybe she might have ran back off to her parents or something like that, which might have happened once or twice. I'm not going to say it did or didn't, but it very likely happened. But maybe they went, and then I'm sitting there, and man, the next thing I know, there's a revival on TV, and Billy Graham's up there speaking, and looks, and I'm getting to hear the good word, and I tell you what, I'm into it. Now, maybe it only worked for a few days, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days at that time. But, I guess enough times have stuff like that happening, or it happening at truly the right time, like it did back in 30 years ago when I did quit drinking. It was time. And we never know when it might be the last time the Lord gives us. Okay. And I tell a lot of people that drink and are abusing drugs, And well, I fell off the wagon. Or fall off the wagon. It just happened, man. All of a sudden I was drinking again, or all of a sudden I was using again. And, the only time that's all right, and I'm not saying it's all right, believe me, it is not all right. But the only time it works out to be all right, if you get to come back and gain your sobriety again and realize it. You never know when that first drink or that first doing anything wrong. But I really put it with the drinking, the alcohol, the drugs. You never know when that first time is going to be that last first time. And not saying that last first time because you quit and you recovered and that was the last first time, but the last time you're even sober, the last time you're even clean, you might not be another chance. It might not be another chance. How about that? And that's the same. I feel that's the same thing with coming to the Lord. You might be hearing it right now for the first time, and it might be the last time that you're given a chance to for real, to get on your knees or to bow your head and ask God for forgiveness, repenting of your sins. It might be that last time you get to ask God to come into your heart. That last time you say, hey, Lord, I want to give my life to you as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to you. I want to give my life to Christ. That's what Jesus did on the cross. He died on the cross for me. He died on the cross for you. He died on the cross for our neighbors. He died on the cross for other political parties. He died on the cross for foreign people from foreign nations. Each and every one of us. He didn't do it any more for you than he did it for them. But the big thing is he did it for me, and he did it for you. And if you're hearing that and you understand that, feel free to comment, whether it's the 8th of February, 2025, or if it's the 5th of November, 2035. If you're hearing it then, who knows? Make a comment on there. Make it profession of faith. Make it known to the world. Go to your pastor. Find a church that's close to you. I'd love for you to find a Celebrate Recovery group we had talked about before. But find a church, pastors near to you, and go to them and join that fellowship of believers there. But it's not only there; it's between you and the Lord. Tell somebody else. Tell your friend. Tell your sister. Tell your brother. Tell your mom, dad, or whoever you can tell, and tell them that, hey, I've made a decision to follow the Lord, and just ask for the Lord to save you, and you'll be saved. Look, we're going to be closing out here in just a moment. I just thought it'd be a good time to share that. I appreciate you listening to me. We're going to close out here with the Serenity Prayer. I'm going to try to bring it up on the screen. Hopefully it'll be big enough to see, but then again, it might not be. Let me try to widen it out just a hair. This is a Serenity Prayer, and I like to share this and read it out each day as we close out our show, just as we do for our Celebrate Recovery meetings. And just like with other faith or other 12-step programs, they usually close out in prayer. Look, people, if you can bow your head, bow your head. If you can't, read the screen. If you're driving, by all means, keep your eyes open and keep it between the ditches. But listen, here we go. The Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Once again, hey, folks, we want to thank you for being here today. Remember, Military Broadcast Radio, it's for the listeners and it's for the veterans to be able to give that voice. And we're going to have to close out for today. And have to say goodbye to you. Keep on listening. There's another show that I know that is coming up shortly after ours. I'm not sure if it's immediately after or in one more hour. It could be that it's at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, but you want to make sure you you tune in for it. Y'all have a good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.